Hello, my name is Freda Pitfield and I'm from the Golden Cap team. Have you ever made a decision only to regret it later? If you're anything like me, then yes, many times. From the time we're born, we all need wisdom to guide us along life's rocky path and safely into the future. We can benefit from the experience of those who walked this earth before us. The wise words I'm about to read are from the book of Proverbs and were written some 3,000 years ago. Human nature hasn't changed. Their wisdom is still true for us today. Let's listen to Proverbs chapter 4, verse 4. My father taught me, take my words to heart, follow my commands, and you will live. Get wisdom. Develop good judgment. Don't turn your back on wisdom, for she will protect you. There's much wisdom in the Psalms too. Psalm 49 verses 1 to 4, and the psalmist says, Hear this, all people. Give ear, all inhabitants of the world, both low and high, rich and poor together. My mouth will speak wisdom, and the meditation of my heart will be understanding. I will incline my ear to a proverb. I will express my riddle on the harp. Well, most of, if not all of us, from time to time are pretty confident of our own wise understanding of life. However, perhaps it's wiser to doubt that we possess wisdom than to attempt to offer this to others, even in the pages of the book we might write, even a very small book. We think we possess it, but life proves us wrong. So where is wisdom to be found? Wisdom can be discovered in every story, every poem, conversation, every experience recounted to us. And if we are wise, then with open minds, we will scrutinize objectively and assimilate before acting upon what we hear. And maybe it's true that wisdom to the mind is what health is to the body. I find this story, which offers advice on how to live life in a wise way. It's called The Pencil's Tale. An old pencil maker took his newest pencil aside just before he was about to pack him into a box. Imagining the little fellow as a person, he recalled a few things about the pencil. Here are 5 things you need to know, he said to his pencil, before I send you out into the world. Always remember these 5 things, never forget them, and you will become the best pencil you can be. The first thing is to remember that you will be able to do a great many things, but only if you put yourself in someone else's hands. From time to time you will experience a painful sharpening, but remember that this will make you a better pencil. Also, keep in mind that you will be able to correct any mistakes you might make along the way. And the most important part of you is what's on the inside. And remember this as well, upon every surface that you are used, you must leave your mark. No matter what else happens, you must continue to write. Well, it seemed the pencil paid attention to the pencil maker's words of wisdom, and he promised that he would remember these 5 things so that he could live his life by listening to his heart and commitment to everything he undertook. This delightful story suggests to us that, like the pencil, we need to place ourselves into the safe hands of God. Even so, we will need to be sharpened from time to time to encourage us on our journey to perfection. We will, however, be able to ask for forgiveness and correct any mistakes we might make. And importantly, like the lead inside a pencil, what is within the centre of our being is what is most important, what it is that is within our hearts. And at the end, this story reminds us that wherever we find ourselves of use, it's there that we must do our very best and leave our mark, remembering that whatever happens, we continue to write our own unique story of life. The Bible is filled with wisdom, and it's to be found practically on every page. It's in the stories, the poems, the conversations, the experiences of people as they interact with God and with each other. If you find yourself living your life in a bit of a muddle, freely making mistakes as you tread along life's path, then the stories of the successes and failures of others, whether deliberately or inadvertently discovered by them, whether today or in the past, they all offer a rich treasury of wisdom. One storyteller called Karen Armstrong said, "Human beings are meaning-seeking creatures. We crave narratives that have a beginning and an end, something that we rarely encounter in everyday life. Stories give coherence to the confusion of our own experience." The wisdom books of the Bible include Job, the Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and the Song of Songs, and they're filled with gathered wisdom. And the story of Job is timeless. It tells of a man who began to suffer inexplicably and undeservedly, and despite the somewhat hurtful but well-meaning advice from his 3 friends, he remains steadfast in his faith in God. But he's puzzled. Job wonders where wisdom can be found. And although Job seems to have no answers as to why he suddenly began to suffer, he is adamant he has not sinned. And he leaves us with a sense that God is real and God is with him. He gives us a shining example of wisdom, of a strong, unshakable faith, even through the painful and inexplicable happenings in his life. And then there's the book of Proverbs, which is a collection of short and pithy sayings that should make us think. They're largely concerned with the quest for wisdom and how to live in harmony with life and with each other. And the Psalms offer another medium of imparting wisdom. They are hymns, poems of praise, poems of appeal to God in prayer. And all of life is on display within their words. We can read a wide range of human emotions, from joy to the very depths of despair. The psalmist is ever confident that God will come to the rescue. And these songs are quite honest in their openness of the psalmist's emotions, displaying anger, frustration, even hatred. And they often reflect our own experience of the highs and lows of life. Reflecting too the human struggle with pride, our struggle of faith, the need to be forgiven. We can recognise ourselves, but God shines through time and time again. Throughout the Bible, throughout the Old Testament, God's wisdom is there for us to find, the wisdom of his word, of his spirit. The story of Job shows that wisdom is intimately bound up with God. Wisdom is something that God alone knows, sees, searches out, and reveals to the world. We know but a pale shadow of the wisdom that is of God. Human beings can't search it out and know it. We may know and possess so much knowledge, learning and ingenuity, but wisdom is where our truest well-being is to be found and in which our deepest aspirations are met. As St. Paul says, has not God made foolish the wisdom of the world? For since in the wisdom of God, the world did not know God or Christ, who is the power of God and the wisdom of God, and God is the source of your life in Jesus Christ, who became for us wisdom from God. Wisdom isn't simply intelligence or knowledge or even understanding. It's the ability to use these and then to think and act in such a way that common sense will carry the day. And the choices we make will bring about all that is good in our lives and will be fruitful for us. Here are some wise words written by Michael Sage. It's called True Wisdom. True wisdom is not when we judge or ridicule one another, as none of us is better than one from another. True wisdom is not all the facts you think you know every time you open your mouth for the entire world to show. True wisdom is not your version and the opinions you convey, but rather tolerance, acceptance and understanding is the way. True wisdom is usually conspicuous through silent interaction and shown by the deeds you continually put into action. Wisdom was present at the creation of the world. Wisdom is a goal for life, a way of life, a path to follow. Let us pray the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. May the wisdom of God guide you along your way.